Hey Flosstube, it's Kim, aka Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, and I am back again with another weekly cross-stitching update. Today is the 6th of July 2020, and this is video number 76. And my husband's back home, yay! So more on that later. I'll tell you about how that all happened and what my kids' reaction was like. But first, we're going to talk about stitching. I understandably haven't had as much time to stitch this week, but I did work on 4 different pieces. So for the last 2 days of June, I worked on Witchy Tea Time by the Primitive Hare, which I have in the 2014 issue of Just Cross Stitch Halloween. This is what it looks like. It is only 3 colors, and as I predicted, I stayed on this top section. And 2 days, like I said, I was cleaning the house, and it was my husband's first day back on the second day. So I only put in 222 stitches in 2 days. But the important thing is I kept stitching. So there you go. That's where it is now. I just took both the top and bottom of that section all the way over again. And the other thing that in the comments from last week's video, a lot of you were saying, oh, that'll look great on the purple fabric. It's not really purple, guys. This is Salem by Color and Cotton. Let me see if I can hold up a piece of white paper to it. It's got some purple undertones, but it's more grays with some slight lavender. It's more of a gray with some purplish undertones. So it's not really purple, but it still looks good. And the important thing is that the black, even for as dark as this fabric is, the black is still stands out enough so you can see everything. So that is Witchy Tea Time. That was the first time I have touched it this year. Hopefully I can get more work on it. 32 count Belfast Color and Cotton in the color Salem. It's not really purple. I'm sorry it shows up that way, but it's more, I don't know, it's hard to describe. But and the second piece I worked on, it was now July 1st, so that meant the July Familiar for Ingleside Imaginarium's catalog of Witches Familiars came out, and I was right. It was a goat. And so there we go. I finished my goat. I did more border, so I only have one more row of border with 2 blocks to go, and I'll be done with the border. So this is Capra the Goat. There's the whole piece. I'll hold him up closer. Capra the Goat works well for witches who live in the rural areas that may have their own livestock. And because Capras can protect the land, protect the area that belongs to the witch, as well as scare off predatory and evil spirits with these bells that are tied onto his horns. So that is Capra the Goat. So I started this on July 1st, and I always do the black outline first. And fortunately, I started from the top of the block and started working my way down. And every month I print out the black and white symbol copy for that month only, instead of printing out the whole thing. And I thought I was going crazy because the pattern had 1 extra row of his face down here. And I was counting, I was like, did I get the size of the block wrong? So I was counting between this part and this part. That was right. And I checked my black stitches and everything was right. I couldn't find a mistake. I was going crazy. And then I looked at the chart, and Brittany accidentally, there was an error when she took the whole pattern and then she just takes out this portion so that you can have that option just to print out that block for the month. Somehow a row got repeated, this very bottom row, and so this cornice was actually 2 rows high instead of 1 row high, and so that was your clue that there was an extra row down here at the bottom. That bottom row was just repeated. So fortunately, I started from the top and worked my way down. I know there were a couple people that started on July the 1st and started at the bottom and worked their way up. And so then they had to change some things, either frog it out or change some things so that his horns would fit in. But I sent a direct message to Brittany as soon as I found it, and she immediately responded, saw the error, and fixed it and sent out a correction. So hopefully not that many people had to change their patterns, or they got the correction before it was too late. Okay, and then after that, I worked on my first piece for Full Coverage Fanatics Bingo for the month of July. I pulled out Half-Blood Prince. In order to finish the park on this one, I don't know what park it is, but I need 3,500 tent stitches, and so I am going to do 4,000 tent stitches for 2 bingo squares on this one. So last night I completed the first bingo square. I put in 2,000 stitches on the start of this page right here with the top of the castle. So 2,000 tent stitches over 3 days. And there you go. It's kind of all over the place, but you can see where that tallest tower, the astronomy tower, is going to be. And then where some of the others are going to fit in. So there's 2,000 stitches. I have 1,500 more to finish the park. 2,000. So I'm going to do an extra 500 to get that second bingo square. So I will pull this out for sure later on this month. And then the fourth piece I worked on was Macintosh Mill. So July the 2nd, it didn't take me 2 full days to do the familiar. So the evening of July the 2nd, I worked on Macintosh Mill. And then last night, after I finished the bingo square on Half-Blood Prince, I also put a few more stitches into Macintosh Mill. So 450 stitches, the equivalent of, because there's a lot of half stitches this week. So I finished filling in the field of crops up here, and then started on some of the greenery, and I did the horse. Most of the horse. Of course, he's got a ton of backstitch put in, and so I have a few on the pattern. There's a few bushels of apples that'll go underneath the apple trees. And there's a path that goes to the tavern to put in a sandy color. And then most of the rest of it will be fill-in tent stitch for the grass. I have the carriage driver. And then there's 2 people right here. So I need to finish the people. But everything from here up is done. As far as the cross stitch and the half stitch. So I'll just keep working on that area and then work over. So we started a bingo square for this one too. So that's 450 into the 1,000 for a bingo square for this one. So plans for the next few days, more on Macintosh Mill. I'm going to, my next square I'm going to work on is with Oh Baby, as it's a piece that starts with a vowel. And this morning I have gridded the page, so it is all set and ready for me to put in 2,000 tent stitches. I have already met my yearly goal on this one, but I need just over 1,000 tent stitches to finish the park. So I'm going to do 2,010 stitches to get that bingo square. So I'll watch my stitch count so I can take a picture at the right point to finish the park, and then keep going to finish the bingo square. So that is Oh Baby. And then here's my bingo board. So there's the square I have. Here's the square I'm going to be working on with Oh Baby. And then Dragons is Friends Forever. But these two squares are for Trick or Treat. Sweet treats and a Halloween piece. So here's where I'm going to be starting with. Hope to work on it this week. I forgot to take off my scroll grand guards off a card sharp, so you get to see some of the back of my fabric. But that's where I'm starting with. It's just about my last row finished. I've only barely started into this next row. You can see that's where the top of the pages I've already done, and the next row will go up this far. So hopefully next week I'll be able to show you this with some more. I'll probably start on this side though, so I'll show you that. So we'll do 2 squares, plus it's 10 stitch, so I have to do 4,000 10 stitches for those 2 squares. We'll see if I get that done this week, plus the 2,000 on Oh Baby, and any additional time I'll work on Macintosh Mail. That is all of my stitching content. Pretty quick this week. The only piece of haul I have is that I used some of my birthday money, and I'm going to do Fabric of the Month for 3 months from Color and Cotton. So I got 32 count Lugana, and it's this really pale grayish blue color. Just came in the mail a few days ago. So that'll be really, really pretty to find a piece on. I just wanted to, you know, grow my fabric stash just a little bit, since I don't have that many colors of fabric. I have a lot of Monaco that I can dye myself. But since I'm enjoying the Color and Cotton on Witchy Tea Time, I figured I would get 3 pieces of fabric over 3 months from Color and Cotton. So I did the neutral Fabric of the Month. Okay, so if you understood all my hints, my husband did come home on Monday night. I'm glad that I did not tell my children, because he was delayed 24 hours coming home. But also it's good that he was delayed 24 hours coming home, because he would have come home the night of the tornado warning when we were all seeking shelter in the bathroom. So one of my neighbors came over while the girls were sleeping that night, Monday night, and I went to the airport in town, which is like 20 minutes away, and picked him up from the airport. His commander was also there, since he was flying in commercially and not on a military aircraft. His commander was there, and one of the civilian folks that works in his squadron was there with some paperwork and things that he needed, because he's not on a strict quarantine. They call it restriction of movement. So he's just got to try to stay home as much as possible, not go out and do fun things for 14 days. And then after the 14 days, he in processes from his deployment. So that means we'll have to pay back a little bit of money, because he should, before the days of COVID, you get back from a deployment, you in process. So that way the Air Force Finance Department knows, okay, now you're no longer receiving tax-free pay, you're no longer receiving hazard pay, and everything else extra that you get paid when you're deployed, and they put you back towards your regular pay. So because it's going to be 14 days after that, they're going to take that money back. And then once he in-processes, he'll get 14 days of R&R before he goes back to work. So effectively, he has the whole month of July off, which is good. so that we can come back together as a family, and also both my girls are July birthdays, so we can, within restraints of how far we're allowed to go from how far my husband's allowed to go from the base, and keeping away from people for those first 14 days. So we have some plans. But anyways, he came home Monday night. My dog greeted him. She was excited, but I mean, she's a pretty quiet, calm dog anyway, so she was just sitting there wagging her tail and grunting at him. And then the next morning, my girls wake up and they know how to keep themselves entertained until I get up. And I walked out with my phone already recording, so they knew something was up. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you guys want to do today besides go to the dentist?" Because they both had their 6-month dental checkup on Tuesday. And so they were just kind of sitting there staring at me for a minute. And my oldest says, "I want Daddy to come home." And after another minute, my youngest says, "Yeah, I want that too." And my husband wasn't getting the clue that that was the point where he should walk out the hallway, down the hallway, and come out to the main part of the house. And so I just said, "Oh, Daddy." And so he came out, and both girls were like, "Daddy," and running to him, and hugs and everything. And my oldest started crying, tears of joy. So it was really fun to take a video of that, and I shared it on my personal Facebook for my family and friends. So everyone really enjoyed that. One of those good feeling cry of the day type things. So since then, we have been reestablishing ourselves as a family, doing things around the house because he needs to learn how to relax. And in the meantime, we're getting stuff done that hasn't been done for a while. One of the things we did was we had to take something back to my horse trailer that's just parked here on base in the RV lot. And so he went with us because he can, we're not around people. And he drove the truck and kept reaching for things that aren't there because for 8 months he drove a manual transmission. And both our vehicles are automatic. So he's reaching for the clutch, he's reaching for the gear shift, reaching for the emergency brake, all these things he doesn't have to do now. So it's just kind of funny habits that you get in over 8 months that you have to kind of unlearn. And he also took a computer online course for North Dakota water safety so that we can rent a boat from Outdoor Rec here on the base, because obviously birthday parties for the girls are different this year. So we are going to stay as a family unit and go out to one of the lakes that's within about an hour of us that we're allowed to go to. And so we can just have some fun on the water and just have like a day trip that way. And I can have one of the neighbors come in and spend some time with Hopper. I'm not sure if we'll take the dog. She knows how to swim. She likes to retrieve out of the water. So that'll be something we need to think about if the dog comes with us or not. So, let's see. No Air Force story today. We've had some bad news in the Air Force community last couple of days. In this last week, an F-16 crashed out of Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, killing the pilot instantly. He was married, no kids, but it was a crash on the airfield, so it was pretty traumatic for the folks that work there. And one of my neighbors, I cooked them a dinner yesterday and took it over there, knowing that they needed a meal train for a week. And come to find out, she lost her son at 21 weeks along. So early labor, and of course 21 weeks is too early for the baby to survive. So trying to support her and her family as well as we can. So no Air Force story today. I hope everyone is having a good stitching week. Even if you can't go see your family, make sure that you're staying in contact with them and letting them know how much you mean to them wherever they are. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week. Get some stitchy time in, and talk to you later. Bye.